Geopolitics with Shukuru, with a future.
Hello everybody, this is Geopolitics. We are here there to share the news, everything about politics, everything about development, everything that is going on around the world. So our job is to share, is to inform everybody about what happens around the world. We have come with something unusual. The Secretary of War, that is how they call him, because Trump has changed the name of the department, defense department. He has changed it to War Department. So now they call Peter Hegseth the Secretary of War. He has called all the top generals. They have a meeting in Virginia. So the media have been wondering why they would call all the generals and all the top generals. There are almost 800 people who are called as generals. So they are wondering, why do you call these generals, why do you call them at the meeting? So a journalist yesterday, he pressed Trump about this issue. Trump responded by saying that, I'm a president of peace. So we want peace with our generals. If our Secretary of War calls them to have a talk with them, what's wrong with it? He said that they are going to have a normal talk, so there is nothing going on around the world or nothing going on in the US. So it is a normal meeting. It's like a family meeting, let's say that, because they are workers, so they are called by their boss, who's the Secretary of War, to talk. That's what Trump said. And J.D. Vance also said there is nothing wrong with them coming to talk with the Secretary of War. So I'm going to put a video here of this man of the Fox News, who is asking an expert in intelligence, an intelligence official. They are going to talk about this issue. They're going to talk about it in more, and they're going to explain it to you what is this about. Then, if there is something new or if something unusual, they are going to say. But that's what I'm telling you. I'm informing you of what is going on and of what Trump has responded to the journalists who asked him about this meeting.
Exclusive, saying Secretary. Appreciate everyone continuing to join us as we continue to bring you some of the day's biggest top stories and headlines. I want to show you what the Washington Post had the scoop on this exclusive, saying Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered virtually all of the U.S. military's top commanders worldwide to gather on short notice and without a stated reason at a Marine Corps base in Virginia next week. So we want to continue to break that one down for you right here on Live Now from Fox. I want to bring in our next guest to help break it all down. This is Hal Kempfer, a national security analyst, a friend here of the program. Hal, thanks so much for joining us on Live Now. And I guess really the first question to you, Hal, is just who is all included here in this meeting? What are you learning here?
Well, Mike, it's interesting. There was a slight variance. First, it came out and said all general and flag officers worldwide. That is a lot. There's over 800 general and flag officers around the world, and we got everything from 4 stars, in charge of major combatant commands worldwide, down to we got 1-star brigadier generals that are permeated through staffs and everything else.
Order coming from the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. He has summoned hundreds of top U.S. generals and admirals to a meeting in Quantico, Virginia on Tuesday. The senior military officers will be coming from around the world, but no one seems to know why.
There's 2 things. I saw one report that said everyone above the rank of 07, which is 1 star, which would be a rear admiral lower half, or it'd be a brigadier general. And then I heard that the brigadier generals and rear admirals lower halves might be included within that, but there seemed to be an exclusion for staff officers. So what it looks like is it's going to be all the general and flag officers in command positions. Now, I have a feeling we're going to see some more expansive guidance on this, because for example, if you have a carrier task force overseas, you would have a one-star admiral would be in charge of that. I'm kind of skeptical that they'd want to redeploy all these admirals that are in, 4 deployed positions in charge of, in sensitive parts of the world doing that. So, but it's going to be huge. 800 generals and flag officers ascending on Marine Corps base Quantico. That's a base I've been stationed at. Let's just say my history with that base goes back a very, very long way. And that's also where FBI Academy is. And that's also where famous NCIS that has all the TV shows. That's where their headquarters is as well. And it's a big base, but with that many flag officers, and they said they're going to bring the normal assembly of people they have. Well, every general flag officer has at least one or more aides. They'll have, in many cases, personal security details, depending on who they are. They'll have a senior enlisted advisor coming in. So when you're talking about that, you can start multiplying that in terms of the people around them by 4, 5, 6, whatever number of people. And then the question is, well, where do they all stay? You can say, well, they could all stay on base. There's not enough distinguished visitor quarters in Quantico or Northern Virginia to basically help, to deal with this. So you're going to see a lot of them staying at hotels in the area, and then they're going to have to work out all the security arrangements. And of course, for anybody out there who's a terrorist and wants to do a big strike, they're going to be looking at this as well, which the FBI is fully aware of, and as is everybody else, and any other threats that could come. So you can imagine this is, if you thought that what happened at Charlie Kirk's memorial service was a big security event, you can imagine what this is going to look like. Even though it's on a Marine Corps base, in a very secure facility, everybody's got to get to and from the facility. And then the question is, what are they going to do when they get there?
Yeah, no doubt about that. And Hal, so the position from the White House is saying, why is the media so interested in this and saying it's not that big of a deal? I want to show everyone the response from inside the Oval Office when President Trump was questioned on this, as well as the vice president. Let's show that, and then we'll get your reaction right here on Live Now.
Secretary Hegseth is inviting military leaders from all around the country on Tuesday. Will you also be there?
From all around the country to what?
From all around the world.
To Virginia. He's inviting the generals and admirals to Virginia for a big meeting.
Well, I know. I love it. I think it's great. Let them be friendly. Let them be friendly with the generals and admirals from all over the world. Why is there something? Is there something wrong with it?
And what is it about? Will you be there personally as well? And what is it about?
Well, I'll be there if they want me, but why is that such a big deal? The fact that we're getting along with the generals and admirals from all. Remember, I'm the president of peace. It's good to get along. It's good. You act like this is a bad thing. Isn't it nice that people are coming from all over the world to be with us?
It's not particularly unusual that generals who report to the Secretary of War and then to the President of the United States are coming to speak with the Secretary of War. It's actually not unusual at all, and I think it's odd that you guys have made it into such a big story.
All right, Hal Kempfer, what is your reaction to that? The White House saying, why are you so interested in this? It's good that we're doing peace and want everyone to get along.
Well, if I want to kind of parse the words, we haven't had a meeting like this with the Secretary of War since around a little after World War II, because we changed it to Secretary of Defense. So technically, semantically, yes, it is unusual. What's unusual is that you would take that many general and flag officers away from their duty stations around the world, away from what they're doing, to fly to Quantico for some meeting. Usually in something, it's not unusual. For example, every year, all the combatant commanders, the 4-star combatant commands, the big regional commands and things like U.S. Transportation Command, Cyber Command, stuff like that. All those generals will meet annually, and that's not unusual. But while they're gone, there's a deputy commander that's taking charge of things while they're gone. And having served in combatant commands, having served at what the Army would call corps level commands, or for the Marine Corps MEF level commands, 3-star commands, along with 2-star commands and a plethora of 1-star commands, that usually when the big boss is gone, you make sure that not everybody's there, that you have a certain, if the boss is gone, that the 4-star is gone, the 3-star is there, or at least a 2-star is there, that can, quote, answer the mail, if you will, while they're gone and make decisions and do those things that have to be done. But if you start pulling all those folks out, that would be difficult. That's why I think there may be a provision there for staff. And what I'm thinking they're doing is, for example, if you were the operations officer for, say, United States Central Command, all right, you would, and you're a general, you would stay there as the operations officer. Maybe the chief of staff, who would also be a general officer, would stay there. So there would be some continuity in the command. If, for example, while they're all gone in Quantico, if something were to happen within their area of responsibility or something were to happen globally, there would be people there of sufficient rank status to basically move forward and keep things going. I mean, every command is going to find a way to keep things going, but you definitely want a few general and flag officers around. So I think they're going to try and do that. But this is big. I honestly, I can't recall, and maybe somebody out there, a historian, will correct me. I can't recall anything quite like this. And I certainly can't recall anything quite like this that happened in such short order, saying, hey, you're going to be back here next week. And I don't know what it is. It seems less likely that they're bringing him back for a meet and greet, let's all be friendly and get to know each other sort of thing. Although, it is on record, Secretary Hegseth has talked about reducing 4-star generals by 20%. Okay. And he's talked about reduction in general flag officer ranks across the board of significant numbers. That could be part of what they're going to talk about. But I have a feeling there's probably something a little bit more urgent that they want to talk about. Although I will tell you that within the military, because of that thing about reducing general officers and flag general officers, there's a kind of a running narrative. They said it's going to be Squid Games for generals. All right, well, that's kind of amusing to say that, but it's not going to be Squid Games for generals, but it could be something where he wants to personally evaluate every general and admiral out there to figure out, who he wants to keep. I mean, this may be, if he's making mass
generals. The White House is dismissing the intrigue. Listen.
Well, I'll be there if they want me, but why is that such a big deal? I mean,
he may want to develop a personal rapport with all these generals and admirals to figure out who he actually wants to hold on to. I wouldn't rule that out.
That's so interesting. And Hal, if you had to, I guess, where would you lean that this could be possibly talking about? Is it Russia? Is it more the Gaza situation? Do you think it's causing alarm here within the ranks?
If you're bringing them from all around the world, then it's got to be something with global import. And I think it may be that it may be that there's discussion about the global threat situation, and probably, and this would I'm just guessing, that there might be some very, very sensitive intelligence that's being shared with all of them, that they're going to break them into working groups to work on specific problems with various what-if scenarios, which may be less about if and more about when. And so there could be a variety of different things. And I would be surprised. I'm sure Russia will be part of the discussion. I would be surprised if China isn't a big part of the discussion. But there could be other things out there. I have to tell you, you and I know this. We talk about this all the time, that there's just a lot of things going on in the world, and there's a lot of things going on in the world simultaneously. And it may be really just sitting down and saying, hey, look, I want to get together because we got to talk about what we're going to be doing over the next year to 2 years. There's an assessment out there saying that China is looking at launching some major operation against Taiwan no later than 2027. That's been floating around for a while. Well, 2027 is coming up. And frankly, if you're going to hold a meeting to talk about that, better now than later, to do something. So, and there's lessons learned. We couldn't move people around the world as fast as in World War II as we can today. But, there were some real disconnects at the beginning of World War II with general officers. And if you go back there, with what Douglas MacArthur was doing in the Philippines, I think almost every historian will tell you, there was a real disconnect with what General MacArthur was doing and what the president wanted. And so it may be just to get everybody on the same sheet of music.
And Hal, let's